WeHo next month. Well, May, right? Foo Fighters in May. And they, along with everybody else, had to postpone. But they're among the first bands to offer up their rescheduled date. So if you were hanging on to those Foo Fighters tickets, whether you won them from me or you got them on your own or whatever, hang on to them. They have set Saturday, October the 3rd as their new date downtown at the Romo Fijo. So if you were going to the Foo Fighters show, it was postponed, obviously. So Saturday, October the 3rd is the new Foo Fighters date. So if you have something conflicting in October, cancel it. How far out do you think people are making plans?
I don't think anyone's making plans at all.
I was reading a thing about how the worst part of the situation right now, somebody made the comment that it feels like there's no future. You're just living in an everlasting present because you can't plan. It'd be different if you were like, here's the end date.
Yeah.
We can plan beyond that. They're like, you just simply can't. And it's kind of human nature to plan and to create patterns out of chaos and whatever. And there's just, you simply can't do that.
I was journaling this morning, and that's actually a topic that came up. Something I realized I was struggling with so much is that the job that I have with comedy, I always have something to look forward to.
Right.
I had 10 months out. I had weekends booked into December. So I always knew, okay, I'm home for 2 weeks, and then I get to go to Boston for 10 days, and then I'm home for a week, and then I'm here. And so it was that constant looking forward to and getting excited about things that kind of vanished. And I think that's been a really hard part for probably a lot of people, too.
Well, yeah, everybody's got some kind of calendar that's pertinent to them, and it's...
Or a friend's, like you said, a friend's wedding or a vacation or something that's all gone now, and you're like, well, now what do we even look forward to? Like,
I tore off... well, it's the little things, I guess.
Living day by day.
I tore off the month of March on my office wall calendar. And I'm like, let's just tear off April, too.
You're not going to write anything on it. I'm looking at April.
I'm not going to write anything on there.
I haven't hung. I have like a dry erase calendar that's a week. And that's usually I'll write like the days I'm on the show, what shows I have at night, and then like everything's color-coded and whatever. I haven't even hung it up because I'm like, I don't have anything to write on there. I know what I'm doing every day.
Yeah. A patient at the Cleveland Clinic, I think, went viral for a thank you video that they did. This is a young dude who got sick with coronavirus, Nick Brown, one of the first people in Ohio to get sick. And he ended up in the ICU at Cleveland Clinic and was on life support for a while.
That's scary.
And his doctors and nurses would write daily goals for him to read on the window of his room. And he is recovered now. But he wrote a long thank you note to the doctors and nurses. The photo of it is going viral, and he did an interview with the Cleveland Clinic.
Assumed I just had the flu. I'm from a rural area, and to be the very first patient to pick it up in a county that is rural as we are, I don't know how it happened. I was on full life support, so I had a ventilator. There was a time during this process where the hospital reached out to my wife and had to have the discussion about end-of-life options. And at the bottom, they wrote, "We will get you home."
End-of-life options.
That's terrifying.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. He sounds like he's, in his late 30s?
He's 38 years old.
Yeah.
I was reading about He
lived, though, right?
Oh, yeah, he's recovered. He's back home, yeah.
No, that's awesome.
Well, that's great.
That is great. I put those Poundcake articles back at alancoxshow.com if you want to read them.
Cody's Corner.
I read the first one.
Your thoughts?
It seems a little convoluted. Like it doesn't really have a
no concise
direct path, like a
editing
streamline. But it was like, here's what the one about the snacks one is the one that I read. Mm-hmm. It's like the first 4 paragraphs I couldn't tell what was happening, and then the last paragraph wrapped it up nicely. But I was like, oh, that's how all of this ties together.
It was a wild ride up until then.
Right. But I'm like, maybe if we took this last paragraph and put it at the beginning, it would make more sense of everything that goes.
Look at it this way.
Right.
It'll take a few minutes for it to populate at alancoxshow.com, but I tweeted him out at Bill Squire if you want to find him there.
Look at it this way. There's no arc, but there's a payoff.
Yes, because I was like, okay, he's talking about his birthday as a kid, and then it went to being gay in high school, and now he doesn't have anybody to love. And I'm like, I have no idea how these things are connected. And then you wrapped it all up and made the analogy at the end. Whereas I think if you, I'm not just trying to edit your piece right now, but if you make analogies like that at the beginning, then the audience, your readers can follow it through, and they can connect to it a little bit more.
Okay.
You wrote papers in college.
Yes.
Topic sentence was lacking.
Thesis.
Yes, thesis
Thesis
statement.
is what you start with.
Thesis statement.
Thesis. Anyway.
These are statements I'm making.
There is a medical store online that normally it is supplies for people who have medical kinks. Like for people who get horny when their partner wears scrubs or wears latex gloves. And they're donating a lot of what is in their warehouse to actual hospitals that need them.
Good.
So we've gotten to the point where a medical fetish company is donating its entire stock.
Porn will save the universe.
Of disposable scrubs. This is in the UK. But they need it just as badly as we do. Urgently needed disposable scrubs. Somebody put out the call, and this medical fetish company.
Medical fetish company.
Right?
I love it, yeah.
Well,
and they want their scrubs.
Is this similar to men who are into nurses? I have some friends that are like, they just continuously date nurses. Like, that's what they're into. I don't know if it's a scrubs thing or what, but that's what they like.
Male friends who date nurses?
Male friends who, like, have gone out. Like, their type is a nurse. I don't know if it's because they're caring or if it's, like I said, the scrubs or...
Maybe that's just what they attract.
I don't know.
How do you attract a nurse?
That's what I'm saying.
How do you solely attract? You got to look for that. You're not going to, like a bug zapper that's just attracting nurses.
I don't know, man. I've dated like a few nurses. Well, talked to a few nurses, and it's always like, I'm like, oh, y'all always find me. Always. And it's always like dude nurses, which are not like completely rare, but they're fairly uncommon.
I think you can have patterns like that where it's just purely coincidental or whatever. Like, why does this keep happening? I dated two guys with the same birthday, September 28th, and then another guy whose birthday was September 27th.
Well, that's just a weird coincidence.
Yeah,
is the nurse thing not the same?
Were they both
No.
named Brian?
That's what you're into?
You decide whether or not you're going to date someone. You don't decide when their birthday is.
I guess that's true.
Nurses are wild, too. So
that's what I've heard.
Yeah. So that's,
I'm trying to think if I ever dated a nurse. I did. I dated her 100 years ago, but she has since married and had kids. But I immediately thought of her because she was the head of the infectious diseases department or something at Northwestern Medical Center.
Sexy.
And I was like, I wonder if she's working on this now. But I have no idea like where she is. I don't have an email, anything like that. But I immediately thought of her. She was quite a bit older than I was when I dated her. And so I was like, boy, she was, but that's the closest I ever, she wasn't really a nurse. She was an epidemiologist or something. But she worked, in a hospital. And I'm curious if she's on the front lines of this in the greater Chicagoland metropolitan area.
Is on the front lines now, pulling people that aren't normally in a certain department to help out.
Yeah, I wonder. I was going to hit up Ryan Bergland and see how he's doing. I've kind of, I didn't want to get in anybody's face. But I'm curious if it's business as usual for his area of expertise or if it's all hands on deck.
I watched a documentary on like Wuhan.
Not deck.
So, I was going to say, so to speak. Yeah, I purposely mispronounced that, Bill.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you for noticing. You said what, Poundcake?
I watched a documentary in Wuhan, China, about the doctors there, and they had to have like special stuff that was only inside of the unit. Like one doctor had a cell phone. He was like, "This cell phone is just for inside of here." He's like, "I can't take it out because it's contaminated." Is that a thing?
Well, I
mean, you can't take
surfaces like
yeah.
Well, a
hard
cell phone?
surfaces. Well, yeah, they tell you wipe down your cell phone and
that's the reason that we were broadcasting from my apartment a couple weeks ago because they were wiping down all the surfaces in this building.
I understand that, but why couldn't he just like wipe it down and it be okay?
They're just being overly cautious about contamination.
I was gonna say because he had it in surgery cell phone and then a cell phone for out of the building. I'm like, okay.
Abundance of caution. Mm-hmm. They just want to be extra thorough. Yeah, you notice that Trump stopped calling it the Wuhan virus.
China.
He was trying to get Wuhan virus going to kind of deflect from his own utter ineptitude with this whole thing, but he stopped doing that after the president of China buttered him up. Because that's how you get to Trump. That's how you get him to do stuff you want him to do, is you just tell him what an amazing, fantastic job he's doing.
Who's a good boy? Who's doing good presidenting?
Yeah, he talked to President Xi last week, and Xi stressed to Trump how decisive and strong and successful he thinks Trump's responses have been. So these guys know, right? They know how to play him. Mm-hmm. They know how to grease him up and bend him over as they just aggressively flatter him, and they can get whatever they want. So that's how that... So if you've been watching those daily briefings and noticed that all of a sudden he stopped calling it that, that's why. More of that 5-dimensional chess we're hearing so much about, I guess. Hey, I got $1,000 here for you just about every hour, all day through the week here. We got money for you to help with whatever you need, so good luck.
Rover's Morning Glory wants to help with a chance at $1,000. We have your shot at $1,000 right now. Text the nationwide keyword COUCH, COUCH, to 200-200. You'll get a text confirming entry plus iHeartRadio info. Standard data and message rates apply in this nationwide contest. That's COUCH to 200-200. Good luck. From 100.7 WMMS.
Hey, Nate.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Hey, so I was listening, and somebody mentioned that they were like pulling people from different agencies to help fight with the coronavirus, and it was funny because I work for a drug and alcohol rehab facility out in Lorraine County, and I was calling trying to get somebody into detox, and they had actually shut down the Erie County detox facility because they were taking all the people out of there and putting them into the coronavirus task force. I just thought that was interesting.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I mean, yours is obviously 1 degree of separation there, but yeah, they're just pulling, they just need all hands on deck.
Yeah, and it was because alcohol, when people withdraw from alcohol, they can have severe seizures that could, in some cases, become life-threatening. And I just thought that was crazy that they weren't even letting people go into alcohol withdrawal because they're so worried about the coronavirus.
Yeah. Yeah, and, well, you know. All right, thank you, Nate.
Hey, no problem.
Yeah, thank you, pal.
Thanks, Nate.
Alan, nurses are well paid. That's why Mary's friends are into them.
Well, I actually just had a different friend say that they're like caring, like the bedside manner, you know? Caring, empathy, and scrubs are sexy AF was the last line.
Yeah, it's not bad. I just always think of like, I didn't want to, you know, you kind of want to leave work at work.
I'm not saying they're going to wear the scrubs. Or do you mean like they're carrying an empathetic attitude?
I sincerely apologize.
Apologize.
No, but it's like, you know, I think a nurse is doing her thing all day long. Maybe she wants someone to take care of her when she gets home.
Maybe.
And the boyfriend's like, yeah, nurses are great because they're really caring.
But
they're always into me. It's like, yeah, maybe let them. Yeah, but I think there's a lot of people who might not. Listen, one of my best friends, and we're not in that much of contact anymore, but for a long time, one of my best friends was a doctor. And this guy had zero bedside manner. He just loved solving puzzles. And he was a brainiac. That's why he became a doctor. It wasn't because he had any great love of medicine or whatever. To him, the human body was one big puzzle.
And it's not lupus.
He started, you know, his career like a lot of other doctors do in the ER. And he would tell me these stories back in that. He's like, people are just so stupid.
My buddy's
They're
an
dumb.
ER doctor
He's
right
like,
now.
people are just bags of meat who screw things up, and they come in, you patch them up, they go back out, they're just as stupid. They're going to come back into you in a week with a hammer in their forehead, you know.
They never learn anything.
So he's like, you know, it's just a puzzle. He's fascinated by the puzzle.
But I mean,
we were our small circle of friends because we all knew each other from high school. When we found out, like after college and post grad and all that this guy was a doctor, none of us could believe it. We're like, this guy has he's like a robot. He has no bedside manner. I'm like, not everybody gets into the healing arts because they feel deeply for other people. For some people, it's just they love the science, or they're fascinated by it, or, you know, people are a puzzle.
Yeah, but I think that you could generalize to a certain degree that the healthcare workers usually have a more sense of empathy and things like that toward people.
Yeah, but how do they always promote that they need nurses?
How?
Publicly.
Money.
Yeah.
Nurses are paid. We're in need of nurses. Nobody ever goes, we're in need of empathy.
But also,
nurses are some of the most empathetic people. You know. I'm not saying that's not true. I'm just saying that they get them by going, nurses make a lot of money.
Nurses make good money, so that's one thing.
As they should.
But then also, you say, like, nurses can put up with a lot of crap because their job is incredibly hard.
It's
Yeah.
stressful.
So if you're kind of a jerk, you go out with the nurse, and the nurse is like, "Hey, it's someone, and they're willing to work around my schedule, so I like it."
Yeah.
All nurses are desperate to this guy.
I'm not saying desperate. I'm saying because their schedule is a difficult thing to deal with too. That's been a problem for. I've dated nurses, and it's it's not the easiest thing, and especially when I have a very conflicting schedule. You don't get to see each other that often.
Yeah.
Alan, I'm married to a nurse, and she lives with her boyfriend.
Whoa.
And I'm happy with my girlfriend.
She's got a husband and a boyfriend because she's so empathetic.
A big heart.
She cannot get enough of helping people. All the nurses that I've ever known or dated had God complexes that I couldn't stand, said someone.
I don't know what that means.
Like that they
I can
are
see
doing
with all
well
due
and
respect, I can see a
helping.
doctor having a God complex.
Oh, I can see a nurse.
A nurse.
Wait, say it again, Mary.
All the
What is
nurses
it?
are going to get mad at me, but
Like that they're playing, like that they're like saving lives
Oh,
and,
yeah. My
really important.
My friend who's a nurse who's on his way to Seattle right now to like what was the epicenter of coronavirus. He has a huge tattoo that says like in your darkest hour I will be there, and it has like a big cross and like the big medical shield on his back. Like, so I mean,
listen, I guess
now
if
that
you've
think
paid
about
the
that.
money and done the work
Yeah.
to become a doctor or a nurse, you say whatever you want.
And he's talking that talk and walking the walk because he's heading into Seattle right now. So
I'd be like, oh, sorry, I have a God complex, barista. I'm making people live. You're making macchiatos.
Why have a God complex?
Dr. Kessler says yes.
Which makes me wonder if this lawyer has any idea as to the kind of grades one has to receive in college to be accepted at a top medical school. If you have the vaguest clue as to how talented someone has to be to lead a surgical team.
You ever see this movie Malice with Alec Baldwin?
No.
What a goddamn great movie. Nicole Kidman. It's like 25 years old, but it's amazing, this movie.
I was waiting for a pun and then that sound like CSI or whatever.
Oh, David Caruso?
Yeah.
I have an MD from Harvard. I am board certified in cardiothoracic medicine and trauma surgery. I have been awarded citations from 7 different medical boards in New England, and I am never, ever sick at sea. So I ask you, when someone goes into that chapel and they fall on their knees and they pray to God that their wife doesn't miscarry, or that their daughter doesn't bleed to death, or that their mother doesn't suffer acute neural trauma from post-operative shock, who do you think they're praying to? Now, you go ahead and read your Bible, Dennis, and you go to your church, and with any luck you might win the annual raffle, but if you're looking for God, he was in operating room number 2 on November 17th, and he doesn't like to be second-guessed. You ask me if I have a God complex? Let me tell you something. I am God.
Alec Baldwin. God, this guy's got some good monologues
Whoa.
in film history.
For sure.
Woo!
That's called
Maybe.
Malice.
Maybe he got taken for a ride.
That's what I was waiting for at some point through. I was like, where's it going?
The movie's called Malice. He's a doctor. Nicole Kidman is this woman, and she sues him. It's real twisty-turny. There's twists and, turns, as I said.
Also twisty turning.
There's turns, there's twisty
There's
turns,
turning
there's
twists. There's cinnamon twists. There's a whole
Coin
thing.
twists. Eat them while you're watching.
Yeah. And she
Twistlers.
sues him for screwing up some surgery, and it's, goes from there. But love that movie. But yeah, to his point, you'll notice that there's no mayor or governor or hospital begging for more Bibles so that they can save people, right? No one's asking for that. All the televangelists are asking for your money, but there's no, there's nobody running a state or no one who is the head of a hospital going, we need more Bibles is what we need to save people.
Damn hotels keeping all the Bibles in the drawers.
Yeah. The Gideons. Hey, Dave.
Hey, speaking of Bedside Manor, our own Alan Cox is a case in point.
Yeah.
I was thinking how many people in the bread scraping union can believe on the radio nowadays.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. Back there, when I was part of Wheat Wranglers Local 101, Dave.
Back in your scrapist days.
Yeah, when I was accused of being a scrapist.
I thought you were a confirmed scrapist.
I was a confirmed scrapist.
Oh, now that needs a Bible.
Did the bread scraping community ever think I'd make anything of myself? I don't know. I don't know where those people are, other than my brother, who was also on the bread scraping team. I don't know. He's had a very good life and a career. I don't know where any of those other people are, Dave. I can only assume that they are all dead.
Or proud.
Or proud, sure. All right, thank you, Dave. Yeah, the bread scraping community. I don't know how they'd feel. I wasn't there to make friends, Bill. I was there to scrape dough off the bakery floor.
Yeah, you're trying to get things done.
Trying to get things done.
Now, are there people that are into scrapists? Like the way guys can be into nurses, are there girls that are like, ooh, I heard he's a good scrapist?
I don't know about that, but it has.
He gets all the dough.
Because it's such a niche. This is a great time to announce my new bread scraping podcast, Bill.
What's it called?
Rising Up with Alan Cox.
Rising Up with Alan Cox, that's right. I'm going to take scrape culture, and I'm going to cast a new light on it.
Well, speaking of podcasts, the new episode of Flicks and Bill is out. We talk about the platform on Netflix, and it's a very fun episode.
So that's worth a watch? I mean, is it...
yeah, I think you would like it.
Is it gross or gory or both, or what?
Yeah, it's gross and gory, and
okay.
It's kind of crazy, and you got to get used to the dialogue's weird because it's a dubbed movie.
Yeah.
So, but I enjoyed it.
Well,
a lot of symbolism in it.
It's Spanish, yeah?
Yeah.
Those Spaniards, they know how to make a horror movie.
Yeah.
Woof.
It's unsettling.
Okay, let me break here. If you want to leave a message, you can do that anytime on the Alan Cox Show After Hours line. It's 216-986-8903. You can text 35192, and we'll be back after these.
The Alan Cox Show on 100.7 WMMS and everywhere you go on our free iHeartRadio app.
Some people are getting used to living in this brave new world.